Welcome to my channel Echoes of Coin. This tiny 1962 penny passed through millions of hands during nuclear threats, civil rights battles, and a nation holding its breath. It looks ordinary, but what secrets did this 1 cent really witness? The 1962 1-cent coin of the United States of America represents far more than a simple copper penny used in everyday transactions. It stands as a quiet witness to a transforming nation, a bridge between tradition and modernization, and a reflection of American identity during the early 1960s. At first glance, the coin may appear ordinary, yet behind its familiar portrait and modest denomination lies a story deeply connected to politics, economics, artistry, and public trust. The year 1962 sits at a pivotal moment in American history, and the 1-cent coin minted during this time absorbed the spirit of that era in ways few people stopped to consider. By 1962, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for more than half a century, having first appeared in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The choice of Lincoln's portrait marked a revolutionary moment in American coinage, as it was the first time a real historical figure appeared on a regularly circulating U.S. coin. Before Lincoln, symbolic figures such as Lady Liberty dominated American coin designs. The decision to honor Lincoln reflected the growing desire to ground national identity in real leadership and moral legacy. By the time the 1962 cent was struck, Lincoln's image had become one of the most recognized faces in the nation. The obverse of the 1962 1-cent coin features the familiar right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Brenner's design was praised for its realism and dignity, capturing Lincoln not as a distant monument, but as a thoughtful human being. Lincoln's slightly furrowed brow, strong jawline, and calm gaze evoke both resolve and compassion. Above his head appears the word liberty, while the national motto "In God We Trust" runs along the upper edge. The year 1962 is placed to the right of Lincoln's profile, clean and unobtrusive, yet anchoring the coin firmly in its historical moment. The reverse of the 1962 penny still carried the wheat ears design, commonly known as the wheat cent reverse. Two stylized wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum arching above. This reverse design symbolized agricultural prosperity, abundance, and the foundational role of farming in American society. Wheat was chosen not just as a crop, but as a metaphor for growth, nourishment, and collective strength. The wheat reverse would remain in use until 1958, but it is important to note that by 1962, this design had already been replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Therefore, all genuine 1962 1-cent coins feature the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, not wheat ears. The Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, shows the iconic Washington, D.C. monument honoring Lincoln. At the center of the memorial, Lincoln himself can be seen seated within, making the 1962 penny one of the few coins in the world to feature the same person on both sides. This subtle detail often goes unnoticed, yet it adds a layer of artistic and symbolic depth. The memorial represents unity, endurance, and the preservation of democratic ideals. During the early 1960s, as America navigated Cold War tensions and civil rights struggles, the Lincoln Memorial stood as a powerful national symbol, and its appearance on the penny reinforced Lincoln's continued relevance. The composition of the 1962 1-cent coin is another essential aspect of its story. At that time, pennies were made of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% consisting of zinc and tin. This high copper content gave the coin its rich reddish-brown color when new, which gradually darkened with age and circulation. The intrinsic value of the copper was low compared to the face value of the coin in 1962, making production economically viable. However, this would change in later decades as copper prices rose, eventually leading to changes in composition. The United States Mint produced the 1962 1-cent coin in massive quantities, reflecting the growing population and expanding economy of the country. Coins were struck at 3 primary minting locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint used a small D beneath the date, and the San Francisco Mint used an S. Each mint played a crucial role in ensuring adequate coin supply across the nation. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 2.3 billion pennies in 1962, an astonishing figure that highlights how essential the 1-cent coin was to everyday commerce. The Denver Mint contributed more than 1.7 billion coins, while the San Francisco Mint produced approximately 210 million. These enormous mintages explain why the 1962 penny is considered common in circulated condition. Millions of Americans handled these coins daily, using them to buy newspapers, candy, stamps, and other inexpensive items. In an era before digital transactions, the penny still held practical purchasing power, and prices often ended in 0.99, making the 1-cent coin indispensable. Despite its high mintage, the 1962 1-cent coin carries significance beyond rarity. It represents stability during a time of global uncertainty. In 1962, the United States faced the Cuban Missile Crisis, one of the most dangerous confrontations of the Cold War. Nuclear tension between the United States and the Soviet Union brought the world to the brink of catastrophe. Yet even as international headlines screamed danger, life at home continued, and people still used pennies like the 1962 cent to buy bread, milk, and newspapers. The coin quietly circulated through anxious hands, a small symbol of normalcy amid fear. The year 1962 also fell during the presidency of John F. Kennedy, whose vision of progress, space exploration, and civil rights energized the nation. Although Kennedy does not appear on the coin, the 1962 penny circulated during his administration and shared space in people's pockets with coins bearing earlier presidents. It is a reminder that coins do not belong to a single moment but flow continuously through history, connecting different eras and leaders. From a numismatic perspective, collectors pay close attention to the condition of 1962 pennies. Coins are graded based on wear, luster, strike quality, and surface preservation. Circulated examples are extremely common and usually worth only face value. However, uncirculated specimens, particularly those with full original red luster, can command higher prices. These are classified as red coins, meaning they retain most of their original copper color. Red-brown and brown coins show varying degrees of oxidation and wear. Proof versions of the 1962 1-cent coin were struck exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint and sold directly to collectors. Proof coins were made using specially prepared dies and polished planchets, resulting in sharp details and mirror-like surfaces. These coins were never intended for circulation and were preserved in protective packaging. Today, 1962 proof pennies are valued for their craftsmanship and pristine appearance, especially when free of spotting or toning. Errors and varieties also add intrigue to the 1962 1-cent series. While major errors are rare, collectors occasionally encounter off-center strikes, die cracks, or double dies. These imperfections occurred during the minting process and escaped quality control, making them fascinating anomalies. A genuine double die, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment during die creation, can significantly increase a coin's value. However, such varieties must be authenticated, as many apparent errors are actually the result of post-mint damage. The economic role of the penny has long been debated, and the 1962 cent sits at an interesting point in this discussion. During the early 1960s, inflation was relatively low, and the penny still had real purchasing power. Children could buy candy with a single cent, and vending machines accepted pennies. Today, such uses are nearly unimaginable. Looking back, the 1962 penny feels like a relic of a slower, simpler economy, where small change mattered. The cultural symbolism of the penny also deserves attention. Abraham Lincoln represents unity, sacrifice, and moral leadership. His presence on the coin served as a daily reminder of national values. Every time someone spent or received a penny, they unknowingly interacted with Lincoln's legacy. The 1962 penny carried that legacy forward during a decade marked by social change, civil rights movements, and generational shifts. As the civil rights movement gained momentum in the early 1960s, Lincoln's image took on renewed significance. His role in ending slavery and preserving the Union made him a powerful symbol for equality and justice. While the penny itself did not change, Its meaning evolved as society reinterpreted Lincoln's ideals. The coins circulated through communities experiencing profound transformation, from segregated neighborhoods to college campuses buzzing with activism. From a metallurgical standpoint, the copper used in the 1962 penny reflects industrial practices of the time. Copper mining, refining, and alloying were well-established processes, and the consistency of the coin's composition contributed to its durability. Many 1962 pennies remain intact today, their surfaces telling stories through scratches, discoloration, and wear patterns. Each mark is a trace of human interaction, a silent record of the coin's journey. Collectors often view the 1962 1-cent coin as an accessible entry point into numismatics. Its affordability and availability make it ideal for beginners, while its historical context provides depth for advanced collectors. Completing a Lincoln cent collection often involves acquiring examples from each year and mint, and the 1962 issue is a standard but meaningful component of such sets. The transition away from high copper pennies in later decades has increased interest in earlier issues like 1962. While these coins were never rare, their composition distinguishes them from modern zinc-based cents. Some people even hoard copper pennies, believing their metal content may one day surpass face value. Whether or not this proves true, it underscores the changing relationship between money and material. The 1962 1-cent coin also serves as a reminder of continuity. While designs, metals, and technologies evolve, the penny remains one of the longest-standing denominations in U.S. history. The 1962 cent links the early 20th century with the modern era, carrying forward traditions while adapting to new realities. In the end, the 1962 1-cent coin is not remarkable because of rarity or high value, but because of its quiet persistence. It moved through millions of lives, witnessed historic moments without fanfare, and fulfilled its role with humble efficiency. It represents the everyday face of history, where grand events and ordinary routines intersect. Holding a 1962 penny today is like holding a fragment of time, a small copper reminder that history is not only written in books and monuments, but also in the coins that pass through our hands. This coin teaches us that significance is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes, it is found in the simplest objects, patiently enduring as the world changes around them. The 1962 1-cent coin stands as a testament to that truth, a modest piece of metal carrying the weight of a nation's past, 1 cent at a time.